So today, we're going to break down what a system of total control actually looks like inside a high-tech fortress. We're going to use a speculative account from our source material to trace the journey of a very powerful leader, all the way from his presidential palace to an 8 by 10-foot cell. How do you take someone with that much power and systematically dismantle it? Let's get into it.
This quote, it just says it all, right? It's such a dramatic, almost unbelievable fall from power to powerlessness. So, how on earth does a person go from ruling a nation with an iron fist to being trapped in a concrete box? Well, let's unpack the system that makes that kind of thing possible.
Okay, so before we get inside the prison itself, we've got to talk about how he even got there. Because this wasn't just some standard arrest. No, this was a mission designed from the ground up to be a crystal clear demonstration of power.
Just look at the speed here. It's incredibly fast. In a matter of hours, a sitting head of state is scooped up from his own capital and airlifted directly into the American justice system. The entire operation was built to be so swift, so decisive, that there wasn't even time for any real resistance to get organized.
And that's the real kicker here. This was never just about bringing one guy to trial. This was a strategic message, broadcast to the entire world. And you better believe that the choice to land him right in the middle of Manhattan, the financial and media capital of the globe, was absolutely intentional.
So, how is an operation like that even possible? Well, it all comes down to a staggering, almost ridiculous imbalance of military power. Let's look at the numbers for a second.
Okay, just look at this. The gap in air power it's insane. You're talking over 13,000 U.S. aircraft versus just over 200 for Venezuela. To put that into perspective, the U.S. Navy all by itself is one of the biggest air forces on the planet. This kind of air supremacy makes a lightning-fast capture mission totally feasible from the get-go.
And it's the exact same story when you look at the Navy. Almost 440 U.S. naval vessels, and that includes 11 supercarriers. Venezuela has 34 vessels and 0 carriers. So on paper, right, this isn't a fight. It's not even a contest. It's just an overwhelming mismatch.
But, and this is a huge but, those numbers for tanks and planes and ships, they don't tell the whole story. Venezuela's real strength, and the very reason a full-scale invasion would be so incredibly complicated, lies in a completely different kind of warfare.
And this is the key idea you need to understand. Paramilitary forces. These are not your typical army reserves. These are state-backed groups specifically designed to fight an insurgency, to make any occupying force bleed for every inch of ground.
And just look at this network. It's multi-layered. You've got everything from the street-level militias, the colectivos, all the way up to a massive national militia that could, in theory, field up to 1 million fighters. This is the strategy. This is how you turn a quick invasion into a long, bloody, drawn-out nightmare.
So because a full-on war would be so messy, the internal prison holding him has to be an absolute fortress. Now, let's go from that massive battlefield to the prison itself, the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, or MDC Brooklyn. The whiplash here is just unbelievable. You go from the absolute luxury and grandeur of a presidential palace to a federal facility that lawyers and even former inmates have described with words like disgusting and horrifying. That physical shock is absolutely part of the system.
And we're not just talking about an uncomfortable place. We're talking about a system that's actively failing. Our sources point to inmates freezing in the winter, constant lockdowns because there aren't enough guards, and an infrastructure that's literally crumbling. It's a genuinely dangerous place for the general population. But a high-value detainee like this, he's not going into Gen Pop.
Nope. He's going into what's known as the Special Housing Unit, or the SHU. And this is where the system gets really personal, really high-tech. This is isolation by design. A cell within a cell. 80 square feet. That's it. Smaller than your average walk-in closet, that is his entire world now. The claustrophobia is immediate and it is total.
And forget what you see in the movies with the clanging bars. There are no bars. It's a solid slab of steel, opened by a guard sitting in a separate control room who probably never even walks down the hall. It's a completely impersonal technological wall between him and everything else.
Inside, everything, and I mean everything, is bolted to the floor. The bed, the desk, the toilet, it's all one single immovable piece of concrete. Even the mattress is just a thin, fire-retardant slab. There is zero comfort, by design.
And this detail? This is just chilling. The light is never turned off. There's no real darkness, ever. It's a constant 24/7 reminder that you are being watched. At night, it just dims down to this faint orange, just bright enough so the cameras can keep their eye on you. Never a moment of privacy.
And the daily routine? It's all about breaking you down with monotony. 23 hours a day in that 8x10 box. And that 1 hour of exercise? It's not in some yard. It's in another concrete cage. Only this one has a chain link fence for a ceiling. You can hear the city outside, but you can never, ever see it.
So you see, the physical cell is really just the start. The real goal here is psychological control. The system is designed to build a prison inside your mind, to dismantle a person from the inside out.
Here's how they do it. Constant surveillance, where even being still for too long triggers an alarm. No clocks, so you lose all sense of time. Your name? Gone. You're a number now. Every letter, every document is scanned and controlled. You become an object, managed by a system.
But believe it or not, all of this entire brutal system we've just walked through, it's still considered temporary. If a conviction is secured, the system has one final destination in mind.
You have to understand the difference here. MDC Brooklyn, as bad as it is basically a holding cell. ADX Florence, the Alcatraz of the mountains, that is the permanent tomb. In that prison, inmates can spend literal decades seeing nothing but a tiny sliver of sky through a 4-inch window. It is the end of the line.
And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's not about revenge. It's not about threats. It's an impersonal, technological, psychological machine of erasure. A system designed to take a person who had immense power and reduce them to a number in a box, proving that at the end of the day, it's not the individual, but the system that holds all the control. It just slams the door shut.